First, millions of people around the world rely on antidepressant medication to get through the day. But do these drugs sometimes do more harm than good? Beverley Thomson is the author of Antidepressed, a breakthrough examination of epidemic antidepressant harm and dependence. And I'm delighted to say that Beverley joins me now. Hi, Beverley. What are the key findings of your book that may surprise my viewers and listeners?
Hi, Mark. Thanks for inviting me to talk with you. First of all, I have to say, I do not say people shouldn't take antidepressants. That's their choice. They have a right to take them if they want to. But what I do say is that they should be informed about the potential risks as well as the benefits, which are very few, I have to say. I also have to say, when I start to talk about this subject, that nobody should ever stop taking antidepressants abruptly. It's very important. So you're right, 1 in 6 people in England, that's about 8.6 million people, take antidepressants. And some of these drugs have been on the market now for 30 years, and people have been taking them for 30 years. And we've always trusted our doctors, who probably told us that drugs correct our chemical imbalance. Well, recent findings and the debunking of the chemical imbalance theory might have kind of made us question, after 30 years of being on these drugs, as some people have we been gullible? Have we been manipulated? Have we been lied to about these drugs?
All important questions. Tell me about your concerns regarding side effects for a start, because that's a worry, isn't it?
Yeah, well, side effects are a huge worry. And, you know, one of the main things that I always say, and people are very surprised when I say it, is if you read a patient information leaflet, and not many people do read the patient information leaflet when they get a medication, an SSRI antidepressant has nearly 200 side effects. Nearly 200 that can cause adverse effects. And some of them are very, very serious. There's a couple in particular that, you know, I always have to talk to. And the first is the increased risk of suicide, which we don't talk about enough, and we need to talk about more. Because especially with children have double the risk of suicide if they are taking antidepressants rather than if they're not. And studies have confirmed this. So we need to be very careful. There's something called akathisia, which we need to learn more about, which does cause people to have suicide ideation. So there's that. And there's something else at the moment, which is really, really coming into the media. Many people are suffering from something called post-SSRI sexual dysfunction. And young people in particular are not able to enjoy sex, are not able to have sex. And this is becoming irreversible, and people are finding that this is affecting their lives in major ways.
Well, indeed. Now, do antidepressants work for some people? Do you have an estimation of what percentage of these medications are helping people?
No, we don't know. You know, the placebo trials tell us that placebos work just as well as antidepressants. And what we find that is in real world trials with real patients, they don't work very well at all. So there was a very big study called the STAR-D trial. And even after 4 courses of treatment of antidepressant, only 34% of patients actually responded positively.
Why do you think the NHS are so keen to hand out these drugs, Beverley?
Well, you know, I think, Mark, we have to look at the fact that the constant mental health messages that we're hearing nowadays, and I'm sorry to say it, that's media as well as the political obsession with it, have led to the increase in antidepressant prescribing. You know, we're told to get help, we're told to get screened, but for the majority of people, because there are no psychological therapies available, what happens is they're prescribed medication, often unnecessarily.
If people are struggling with mental health issues, what steps do you think they should take?
I think the first thing that a doctor or psychiatrist should do is ask them to wait. Because many of the societal issues that we're dealing with, many of the personal issues, are transient. Life is very fast moving nowadays, and most of the things that we suffer from, we get over pretty quickly. And, I think there was a study at Brown University in 2006 that showed us if with no somatic treatment, 85% of patients will actually recover within a year.
Now, Beverley, briefly, what would you say to those, your critics, who would argue that what you're saying in your book and what you've told me just now is dangerous, ill-informed and wrong?
Well, everything that I write in my book is evidence-based. And I come from one perspective, and that is to help patients. And that is the only reason I wrote my book. We're now at an age, Mark, where we need to become empowered. We need more autonomy when it comes to being a patient. I think the age of doctor knows best is well and truly over.
Most definitely. And of course, the pharmaceutical company make a lot of money from these medications. It's important to follow the money, Beverley.
Of course, they make a lot of money from these medications, but not as much nowadays, obviously. Now we've got the generics, as they did when they were prescribing the brand drugs. But you're right, it's become a massive industry. And what we're seeing is we're seeing these massive industries and the messages that we're sending, they're enabling and allowing governments to fail to acknowledge and address the social determinants affecting our lives, which are causing us unhappiness and which are causing us anxiety and are causing all the symptoms we associate with bad health. The chemical imbalance theory, Mark, was a political no-brainer.
Well, there you go. And listen, it's all about challenging orthodoxies. I appreciate your time, Beverley. Let me tell you, the book is out now. It's got the country talking. I've got to say, you can agree with it, you can disagree with it, but it's worth a read. It's called Antidepressants.